All right, as always, let's go ahead and jump right in. Today, I'm going to be using a fountain pen. I've been sketching more with my fountain pen lately, just to change things up a little bit. And you'll notice that I already have my box drawn, so the first thing I'm going to do is put down a couple of dots for a reference, and these are going to help me draw my primary lines. Now, the first thing I'm doing is I'm looking at the negative space that the first two buildings are making, and using that negative space to help me define the positive shape of the buildings. Going back and forth and focusing on the negative shapes and the positive shapes really helps you to get more accurate proportions in your sketches, and that's what I'm doing here. Now, I'm actually working on a future tutorial that kind of dives into this concept a little more. All right, let's get back into the sketch. After I have some basic details drawn, I'm going to go back in and start to refine those lines. Now, I want to talk a minute about the scene that I chose. I picked this one because I thought it had good contrast of texture. I really like how most of the buildings in the scene have that corrugated metal texture, as well as some good contrast in lighting. So I really felt this would be a good experiment with my fountain pen. Now I'm just working around the building, adding details at this point. Now I'm going to go ahead and speed up this video a little bit. Now is a good time to mention that if you're enjoying these videos, please give it a like and a subscribe. And additionally, if you have any questions about my process or even your own tips, please drop them in the comments below. Now, as you can see, I've started to add some of that corrugated texture. Your lines don't have to be perfectly straight. In fact, you'll notice that throughout my sketch, a lot of my line work is a little choppy, and really that's okay. That adds some character to your drawings. And I'll speed up the video here as I finish this section. Okay, getting back to my sketch. Now, as I start to draw my texture for the middle building, you'll notice that I'm going a little slower. I'm doing this because these lines are a little longer and I wanted to make sure that I've kept them a little straighter. As I wrap up this building, I'm going to move over to the far left building and do this balcony detail here. Now, in this case, I just decided to draw the balcony detail using a little bit heavier weighted line. And to do this, I'm simply pressing a little firmer with my pen. And as you can see, it's giving me some nice thick lines. And once I wrap up this detail on the building, I'm going to go ahead and move over and start my shading. Now, I'll speed up the shading process a little bit, but I'm following the same process that I normally do in all my videos, which is that I am starting with my mid-tone gray values and applying that to each building. Next, I will switch over to my dark gray to start to build up those areas of contrast. I like to block in a little bit of color for each window, and at this point, I'm not really trying to be exact. You can notice that it's very loose. Now, once I've blocked in all my contrast, I'll go back to my midtones and start to build up areas of texture. Again, with alcohol markers, one of the nice things you can do is build up color easily, simply by layering it on. And I'm easily to get that weathered look into my texture by doing that. Now, the very last step that I do with my shading is that I'll take the darkest gray marker and I'll make a pass for my deepest shadows. And that's it. Here is the final image. You might notice that I did touch up the shading just a little bit, just to add a little more contrast.